Tony, thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, always good to be here, Amber.
Today, we're going to talk about small and medium sized businesses, which are all navigating a really complex shift right now. They're trying to adopt new AI technologies, and at the same time, they are facing an increase in terms of cyber threats. Can you talk a little bit about how businesses that you've worked with or seen, how do they balance what they're experiencing at this time?
Well, I think there's two distinct challenges there that you mentioned. One is about how to fend off those threats, and of course, the adopting AI as a business tool uh, for internal use or customer use is also expanding the threat because it's expanding the opportunity for cyber criminals. But let's talk about both of those individually. Is AI has been within cybersecurity for many years, and in fact, at ESET we've been using it for nearly 30 years in our technology in various forms. But today, companies need uh, fairly good sophistication to use some of those AI tools. Now, because humans actually overseeing what happens with AI tools is super important. So you need good threat hunters that understand how AI operates as a cybersecurity tool to actually make good, solid decisions on when to block things, when to allow things, et cetera, et cetera. So, I'd recommend for small businesses, actually, if you're very small, of using managed services so that you're utilizing experts that do this and do it 100% for multiple customers every day. Now, on the AI adoption of other things, I'd recommend to every business actually to stand back slightly and don't rush. You need to make sure the adoption of AI within your business is done for the benefit of the business, not just to say that you've got AI, but actually for the benefit of the customers and that it's actually driving your business forward. And there are some great examples of companies doing this very well certainly in customer service, where it lends itself very easily. Certainly with the customer agent type solution, where the AI tool can actually help the customer before you get to a human. So, just make sure you're doing it for the right reasons and you're doing it in a secure way. And one thing I'd always say is your security team should be involved in every business decision that involves technology. Don't do it independently of your security team.
What about some of the AI powered scams and malware that exist today? Because we have talked over the past couple of years, and it feels like the risks are getting worse, and the AI is getting more sophisticated. So, what is the state of things right now? And what should small businesses know about some of these risks?
Well, cyber criminals aren't using AI. Yeah, AI is not attacking you. It's a cyber criminal attacking you using AI within the tooling, or they've improved the way they're attacking you by using AI tools to make it seem more legitimate. So let's make sure that we don't think AI is attacking us to start with, because it's a human behind it that's attacking us, actually doing this. Um, we don't see what we haven't seen yet is a cyber criminal adopting the position where AI actually is running the attack. We've seen AI in use within a piece of malware, but primarily that's pretty much always been a proof of concept. It's not been done in the wild. Now, one thing people often ask is why do I think that this isn't being done by used by cyber criminals effectively? And I would say it's because there's too much low hanging fruit. There's too many businesses that still have weaknesses and vulnerabilities that are easy for cyber criminals to go at. So why go down this path of complicating your business and using new AI tools when you don't need to?
One of the things that we're seeing, I think, everywhere is that cyber incidents are becoming normalized. It's almost like we're just glossing over when we hear these reports of these massive cyber attacks. What is the risk of us becoming so used to this that we stop paying enough attention to the point that potentially these businesses are more vulnerable?
Well, firstly, I think we need to define what a cyber attack or cyber incident is, because if I ask some businesses, have you had a cyber incident or have you seen a cyber attack in the last week? Some will say five, and some will say none. Yet they might have seen the same things. Somebody will class a phishing attempt as a cyber attack, and the other one will only class something that's what I define as a material attack. And what I mean by that is an actual attack that goes beyond just that initial probe. Um, yeah, think of it as these were front doors. Somebody's coming along and knocking on the front door. Yeah, is that an attack? No, I think it's somebody just probing the front door. Somebody coming along and breaking the glass is an attack. Yeah, so I think we need to keep somewhat perspective on what an attack is, and businesses need to understand that. Now, is it becoming normal? Yeah, unfortunately, yes. But then, um, and it will remain normal all the time cyber criminals can monetize. So all the time that there are methods of payment that can mean that the cyber criminal can either sell data or walk away with extortion money, they will keep coming. So somehow we need to take the money out of cybercrime.
How is the response to some of these actual incidents changing over time? Especially considering that some small and medium sized organizations are involving law enforcement, some aren't. So, how is the response changing, and what is the meaning behind that?
Well, we recently ran an SMB survey, and that was one of the interesting statistics that came back out of that survey was that the first person that somebody's contacting is actually a cyber insurer. Law enforcement are further down the list. Now, there could be numerous reasons for that. It could be that the cyber insurer asks for that. You always tell us first. And actually, the cyber insurer may well then be sending in an incident response team who will then deal with regulators, law enforcement, and such like, and do that on behalf of the customer. So it may be that, um, or it may be that who do I go report a cybercrime to in law enforcement? I'm not sure if I ring my local police station and say, "Hey, I've got a cyber incident going on." I'm not sure I'm gonna. I think I might spend a day trying to find the right officer in that team to actually come and help me. So I think there might be an element of that as well. Maybe there's a case here that you need to have contact and communication lines with law enforcement without there being a cyber incident. So you need to know that if you do have an incident, that actually you already know who within law enforcement you're going to report that to and how it's going to be reported. So if you are doing a simulation, a tabletop exercise beforehand, to make sure your business is prepared, then maybe that's one of the things on that tabletop exercise you should have.
One last question for you. As we see a rise in the number of AI driven threats by humans, I've just added that, Tony, see, because you just taught me something. It's not the AI attacking you, it's humans using the AI. Uh, what about the importance of expert advice when it comes to cybersecurity? Because it feels like things are changing so quickly that it's hard for people really to keep up with some of these threats.
It certainly is, and actually, certainly on the topic of AI, the survey I mentioned, we also asked SMBs that specific question of what do you see as the challenges, and one of the number one challenge was actually keeping pace with technology in there. So it's a great question. I think as companies struggle to keep pace with the technologies that come along and AI as it comes along, I think you have to understand that, for example, cybersecurity has become a very sophisticated topic in the same way cybercrime has. So the sophistication level on both sides has gone up. So you really need you need expert assistance. Now, AI tools are used in cybersecurity, but what that really means is the AI tools present you, Amber, when there's an incident. They present you with all the forensic evidence and they present you with all the details. Now, whether the system makes an automated decision based on the incident or whether it presents you with it, and if it's presenting you with it, you really need to understand it. So I think the whole challenge of keeping pace with technology, I think actually for me, if you don't have that team or that expert on hand in the company, I think it really should push you towards outsourcing and using a specialized company to actually help you run your cybersecurity and improve your entire security posture.
Tony, I've just realized that for our next conversation, we need to talk about some of these terms so people get them right. Because I think often, and I do it myself, I'm mixing up a cyber attack with cybersecurity with a cyber threat or a cyber incident and cyber insurance. And there's a lot of terminology that goes along with this. I know you do some amazing work with ESET over on ESET's blog. So if people want more information to stay up to date, where's the best place for them to go?
Well, they can come to welivesecurity.com, which is our blog where we publish a lot of our research. They can also go to eset.com and find out about the services and products that we offer as well. And if I've used terminology that is confusing or somebody's got a question they want to pose to me, come find me on LinkedIn, Tony Anscombe, and feel free to ask me a question there.
Great. Well, listen, thank you so much for all of your advice today and looking forward to having you back.
Thank you for your time, Amber.